Oh, Sven, you look at the cat update. Oh my goodness gracious. Such a fluff ball, so heavy. Get out of here.
So last week I made a video on how to best style your hair type. This is how you style thin hair, medium hair, and thick hair. So if you're looking for a style specific, if you already know your hair type, I've got that video linked down below. You can check it out after this one. But in that video, a number of guys commented being like, okay, great, but how do I know what my actual hair type is? You know, at surface level, it seems kind of common sense, but there's actually a lot more to it than meets the eye. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Let's start with some important distinctions. There's a difference between hair texture and hair density. For today's video, hair texture refers to the thickness or thinness of your individual strands. The texture of your hair is what makes you have thin/fine hair or thick/coarse hair. Hair density, on the other hand, to put it simply, is like how many follicles do you have per square inch on your head. The more dense, the more hair you have overall, regardless of whether it's thin or thick. So with that in mind, and we'll break it down further, but let's start with thin hair and then we'll work our way up. The most straightforward way for you to find out if you have thin hair is to grab a strand or two and feel it in your fingers. Of course, a single strand of hair will always feel fairly insignificant, but if you have that and you can barely feel it in your hands, chances are your hair is on the thinner side. Other key signs that suggest that your hair might be on the thinner side is if you find it difficult to build long-lasting volume in your hair or get some really good separation and texture for your finished result. You may also find that a lot of hair products you use end up weighing your hair down and making it flat. You know, that's another contributing factor to struggling to get volume throughout the day. If you do find yourself in this situation, I highly suggest that you check out the last video I made. It's specific to products and how to best match that with your hair type. So if you missed that or you need some more information, got that up here as well as in the link down below. One thing that I will mention is that if you do have thin hair and you're looking for more volumized hairstyles, you're trying to get that volume, you're trying to make your hair just look more full in general, I highly recommend keeping your hair on the shorter side. Shorter hair is much easier to keep volumized for guys with finer hair types because it keeps everything lightweight, and that's a key factor to getting all-day volume for guys with finer hair types. For example, this guy has a fine hair texture and the hairstyle looks fine if that's what you're going for, but because it's rather long, you're gonna always be limited to the more natural low volume swoop. On the other hand, chop it down by around half and you can pull off some great volume, especially if it's paired with the right products. Volume does not have to be reserved solely for us thick-haired brothers out there. Now, here's where the confusion usually starts to kick in. Thin hair does not automatically mean that your hair looks like this. It could, but it doesn't have to. This guy's a good example of having thin hair and fairly low density. It is totally possible to have a fine hair texture, but a really dense canvas. And what this basically means is that, yeah, your hair could be thin individually, strand speaking, but you could have a lot of hair. And this is what always confuses people. If they have a lot of hair, they automatically think that means my hair is thick. And that's not always the case. Your hair could be thin, but you have a lot of it. And actually, guys with thin hair, but a lot of hair, actually have a very ideal hair type. It's super versatile. You can rock your hair in a lot of different styles because thin hair is often easier to work with, and if you have a lot of it, that just provides for a fuller look. To give you some examples, some YouTubers with this exact hair type are Dre Drexler, Jordan O'Brien, and Cody Ko. Just to name a few, of course there's more out there. So if this is you, you still want to follow the best practices and products for fine hair, even if you have a lot of hair. It doesn't mean that your hair texture is thick, so you should still follow fine hair protocol, even if you have more hair to play around with. Now, for thick hair, same protocol as before, grab a strand or two and feel it in between your fingers. Now, if you do this and you can really feel the texture, you feel like you've got some substance in between your fingers, it doesn't feel super lightweight or like it's not there, chances are your hair's on the thicker side, such as is the case for myself. Other ways of identifying thick hair is if getting volume isn't a big issue, but rather controlling the poof factor is what's challenging. You often find getting volume to be pretty straightforward, but sometimes it might be too much volume, or you're trying to tame it a little bit or calm it down. Or another key identifier is if you struggle to control flyaways, or you've got loose strands obviously sticking out in different places. Generally, guys with thicker hair struggle with taming frizz a little bit more. Again, I addressed best styling practices for guys with thick hair to combat all of these issues in my last video. Again, I'll have that linked down below. But once you figure out what hair type you have, use that as a reference on how to best deal with it. Guys with thicker hair may find that they need to actually let their hair grow a little bit longer to have that more control controlled looking volumized hairstyle that someone with thin hair can achieve to the same degree with a shorter length. I'm actually a good example right now. If my hair was on the thinner hair type, this would be a pretty perfect length, but as it stands, I'm doing my best to control kind of the grow in that's happening over here. You know, it's getting a little bit awkward. It's just requiring more work for me to keep shaped up. Probably doesn't look the best that it could right now, but if my hair was on the thinner side, this would all kind of just lay in place a little bit more naturally and not be so obviously rigid. For a cleaner looking hairstyle, I need to grow my hair another 2 or 3 inches to have that volumized, controlled looking arc that again, guys with thin hair would be able to achieve with shorter hair, such as in this example. And then another thing guys with thick hair can do is just keep their hair short on the sides if they don't want to have to deal with any of that stuff poking out. Good examples of guys with thick hair, once again, coming from YouTube itself, are myself, Alex Costa, and Aaron Marino. We've all got hair on the thicker side. In terms of density, it is more common for guys with thick hair to also have a more dense canvas. They usually go 2 and 2, not always, but it airs on that side. And this basically means that you've got thick hair and you've got a lot of it, which usually takes extra time trying to control the poof and just get your hairstyle into place the way that you want it to be. It also means that guys with thicker hair generally do not have as many options when it comes to finished hairstyling results or the versatility that guys with fine hair but a lot of hair do have. Because our hair is coarse, it's more stubborn in terms of the direction that it's willing to go. So when it comes to thick hair, it's all about identifying what looks best for your hair type and committing. You can, of course, experiment. I think everyone should always experiment, but just know that during your awkward phase, or what I should say is your awkward phase, will probably be more noticeable, a little bit more challenging than other hair types if you've got thick hair. Really, your hair is gonna fall somewhere on the scale from either thin to thick or somewhere in between. So at the end of the day, it's your job to decipher kind of where you land. But just remember, hair texture and hair density are 2 different things. So just make sure that you understand that concept before diving in and determining exactly what hair type you personally may have. As long as you've got that down, it should be pretty straightforward from there. I hope this helps. We're diving deep with the hair help over here. So if you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see everybody next time.